Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. How are you? How was your week? Are you ready for the beginning of studying, for the beginning of the academic year? So nobody knows about the format of academic year, so we are somewhere in the air. Nobody knows the schedule. Nobody knows how, where, and when we are going to start. I don't mean study academy, but I mean just the usual educational establishments like universities, especially universities, because I'm studying at university. Like that. Hello, hello. So the thing is, that all teachers voted for the projects that you sent. As usual, Andrei, you are the only person who participated in the summertime period. So you are obviously you are the winner today. That's why I'm happy to inform you that you are going to get your prize. And today we also have like farewell gifts. Not like farewell, but the ending presents that you are going to receive today. Like that. Well, I can't join the webinar because it says an error occurred. Oh, but I see you that you can participate. Oh, I don't know, just a second. I'm going to fix it. Let me just a second. All right, I also have just a quick check. Let me just again. Right, the link was damaged. Oh, here it is. Can you check, please? No. Really? Still? But now I have the new link. Let me check the link again. No, it should be working because I have it working right now. I can see myself clearly. Just just a quick check. So I'm going to just a quick check of our crew, summertime crew. Should be working right now. Everybody sees me. They say that they see me. I'm not really savvy about the problem, but it should be working. Okay. I don't really know. Why not? 'Cause everybody sees me. Just let me again. Oh. I have a gray screen and it said an error. I restarted my tablet, but the issue didn't disappear. Just and now check this. Check it again. Oh, it's perfect. Good. Thanks a lot for something with the link. 3 times I copied and nothing worked. Good. Let's continue. So I was happy to watch your project, and today we also have special presents for the most active students, but obviously this student this student is you. Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks a lot for listening and watching our webinars, participating in summertime process, and revising English with us. Good. And today the last webinar is devoted to one of the most, not like most, but to one interesting topic, storytelling, which is quite nice to arouse this topic. Good. So the agenda. We're going to have a bit of a discussion about stories of your life. Again, we're going to look what storytelling is, what it means, the importance of it in our life. There's some techniques how to make a great story, developing structure and elements of the story, some pieces of advice by Pixar of a mastery and art of storytelling. Practice, actually, we are not going to have practice today. Good. So the discussion. Can you please in the chat box type the craziest or the weirdest or the funniest story that has ever happened to you or somebody you know? And share please in the chat box. Speaking about me, I have, I don't know, just I always try to find some funny story behind my days, behind my routine, and it was this vacation that we had a very funny it's not like story, but it was story entwined through my whole vacation period. Have you seen the website? Right, it was cool. I admire. That's very good. All teachers said that you did a great job. All teachers. But later I realized that it was the beginning of the lockdown and the school was closed. That was hilarious. Oh, wow. Right. Sometimes I just mix. Sometimes I also mix some of the dates, and usually these not vacations, but days of, national days of, that we have, and I usually come to some courses, or I go to I do something and I wait for people, for my students usually, but it's like by default they think that it's a day off and I just wait for them. But then I realized that nobody will come. So that's my also like a pain in the neck. Right. So about the funniest story, it's like we usually laugh at the week during my vacation. We usually laugh a lot, and this time it was this time it was a very funny song that we sang, and we had a video. It was from X Factor, and we were laughing a lot during our vacation. So it's like the last craziest story. And we were dancing and laughing, and then we went to the seaside, and we were just showing that some gestures from gesture mimes from this song, from this video. And it was just, I don't know, it was hilarious. Everybody was laughing at us for doing that, but it was so funny that we couldn't even stop. Right, let's get to this one. The importance of storytelling. So what I would like to start with, it's right. So stories have been used to hand down learning and knowledge for thousands of years. A good story engages our curiosity, emotions, and imagination. It's like strikes a chord with the imagination, with the people's imagination. So let's have a look at the transformative power of storytelling and its potential to bring about change. So what about the storytelling? Perhaps the first thing that springs to mind when you think of storytelling is a childhood experience of being told a story, or a story that you have told a child, doing a different voice for every character. We're all familiar with traditional forms of storytelling, such as fairy tales and legends. And these oral and written stories continue to evolve as they are retold and brought to life in a different form. But storytelling doesn't just take place within a pool of lamplight, in a nursery, or around a campfire. Stories are part of our daily lives, in the anecdotes we tell to our friends, the books we read, and the films we watch. Stories are also recognized as an important way of connecting with any audience, and storytelling is increasingly used in workplaces, advertising, and fundraising. Stories are the way we understand and make sense of the world we find ourselves in. So, in healthcare, stories are proving to be a useful tool in engaging people with quality improvement work. Telling the story of one patient's experience of care can memorably illustrate improvements or problems in a care pathway. Statistics and data have an important place in monitoring and understanding services and facilitating improvement. But the right story can also have the power to motivate and change minds. Sharing the story of a patient or frontline work with a board or with a team can quickly and effectively bring a situation to life and focus discussions around quality improvement and patient experience. At a health foundation, we find that storytelling helps to communicate in a powerful way the lessons emerging from some of the projects we fund in the healthcare system. Storytelling approaches help us inform debate and discussion, raise awareness of the work of our grant holders and people we work with, as well as bring key issues to life. They can help us appeal to hearts as well as minds. As far as I remember, I've just remembered the last weekend I was on Hrichatik, and I met one foreigner who didn't understand why the main street was closed. Therefore, I had to explain him this Ukrainian culture aspect. Which culture aspect? Which culture aspect? That Hrichatik is closed or what? I just don't understand. This Ukrainian culture aspect. I just don't know why Hrichatik is closed. It's because the weekends that we can spend, and it's like a very famous site that people could enjoy during their weekends. And as far as I remember, my grandma would always tell me this story about either a Red Riding Hood or Kurочка Ряба in my childhood, right? By the way, Kurочка Ряба is, and Соломенный Бычок, it seems to me, are very popular among the Japanese. And they asked us to translate these fairy tales into Japanese to enjoy our fairy tales. But Red Riding Hood not. They didn't like it. Kurочка Ряба and Соломенный Бычок, they really liked the Соломенный Бычок, and was closed and he wasn't able to take the taxi to the mall. That was his problem, that he couldn't take the taxi to the mall. It's just a site. It should be closed, it seems to me, to enjoy the city to the full. Good. You should have said him that it's like a rule to close it. Right, good. So about these stories that I don't know why Japanese asked to translate Kurочка Ряба and Соломенный Бычок. I haven't seen something special in these fairy tales, but they really like these fairy tales that they asked to translate. Maybe there's the impact of storytelling here. We can observe the impact of storytelling and the power. So as I said before, stories can have a very powerful impact on people, on their mindset, and we can easily manipulate some of the ideas and some of the processes around, right? They can help to appeal to hearts as well as minds, as they said. Stories take many forms, but they usually have some elements in common. Rather than a list of dry facts, stories have a narrative or sequence, and they introduce people or characters. We respond to stories, particularly when there is emotional detail. And remember information given in a story form much more vividly. Here, what I wanted to add. Actually, the process of learning the language should and it has to have the element of personalization. That's why usually at the end of the the second part of the lesson or the last part of the lesson should be always about personalization. So it means that you activate the knowledge that you've gained during the lesson using your personal anecdotes, using your experience, and to tell That's a so-called story using the language you've gained, the language you've learned, just to practice the language. It means that it helps us to remember things better when it's something about you, about your life or a life story. Per, uh, per se, and per se you wrote in a different per se, it should be per se, and it should be at the end. Very important, very importantly. The story is rather important per se. The story is rather important per se. Per se should be at the end, and per se without se, right? No, why sorry? it's fine, that's fine. But the way of presenting it, right. That's very essential. The way you present the story is quite important. Good. Right. So why is storytelling important? The Empathy Museum says stories have a transformative power to allow us to see the world in a different way than we do if we just encounter it on our own. Stories are an entry point to understanding a different experience of the world. This aspect of storytelling, presenting a different perspective of the world, is important when it comes to connecting with each other. It gives us an opportunity to learn from another person's experience, and it can shape, strengthen, or challenge our opinions and values. When a story catches our attention and engages us, we're more likely to absorb the message and meaning within it than if the same message was presented simply in facts, figures, digits, or statistics. When someone tells us their own personal story, we catch a glimpse of a view of the world that may be slightly or radically different from our own. When we see the world as they see it or walk in their shoes, the experience can inspire empathy within them. We can relate to an individual much more easily than a group. First-person narratives are helpful in seeing people as individuals rather than as a group, like patients, refugees, or the homeless. Storytelling and listening is a two-way process. There is some evidence from neuroscience, which suggests that when I'm telling you a story and you are listening to my story, our brain patterns begin to mirror one another. We are connecting, and the empathy is on not just an emotional, but a physical level. So the art of powerful storytelling. Everyone has stories to tell, but storytelling is a skill that can be developed, and as a tool, it can be used to powerful effect. Developed and used purposefully, storytelling can contribute to inclusion and connection, build confidence, and bring about change. A Mile in My Shoes is one example of storytelling used in a creative and memorable way. There is one thing that makes a powerful story. Each story and storyteller is unique. The storyteller is sharing their experience with the world for the listener. Lots of things make a story powerful. The way that it's structured, the skill of the storyteller, the content of the story, the way that a voice is used. Different things come together. If people are inspired to use storytelling in their work, I'd recommend working with people who know about storytelling, such as artists and audio producers. They can help you to look at how you can use storytelling in a way that it's going to help you meet your aims. Storytelling is an important communication tool for us, especially for the healthcare system, for example. It can capture people's attention and hopefully provoke them to think differently about an issue. We use storytelling as a way of encouraging people to delve deeper into the evidence about what works and doesn't to improve health and healthcare. With the help of different advertisements, video clips, and different these YouTube videos, the storytelling is experimenting with different approaches to engage people with the storytelling process. For example, encouraging to fund. The storytelling is used to help share the learning from the improvement and the resources to help people. Right. What I wanted to start, I forgot to show the video. So let's have a look at the video, which is quite nice when we talk about storytelling. Just let me find it. There you go. Johnny Walker, that's a very very powerful example of a storytelling and as an advertisement campaign. So let's have a look. I admire it, actually.
I want this boat. Built in 1928. Designed by the Baglietto Yard, Variazze, Italy. Nothing like it in the world. Rarer than rare. It's not for sale. I don't want to buy with money. I want to win it. With a dance. With dance. With a dance. Dance. Why did I say I would dance? I don't know how to dance. Why did I say I would dance? What was I thinking? What was I thinking?
Well, let me just pin it up at the front.
It definitely feels too tight on the heel.
Yes. Again, 1, 2, 3, thumb.
Right, in you go.
Oh, this is perfect. Is that a piano? Is that working?
Yeah. It's a very old piano, but it's got a lovely tune, you know. What did you want it for anyway?
A bit of fun.
No. Fun?
Oh, well. Let's get on with it then. buy this boat. Built in 1928 by the renowned Baglietto yacht, Varese, Italy. Nothing like it in the world. Rarer than rare. It's not for sale. I don't want to buy it with money. I want to buy it with a story. A story.
So here is the power of the story that is behind selling the boat. Good. Johnny Walker, by the way, has the most it's like the most creative, it seems to me, the most creative advertisements and advertisement videos ever, because they are just perfect. It's called Topless. Right. I know Topless. He has mastered. He manages to keep the audience throughout the whole and always has some witty. Yeah, I know Topless and his way of storytelling. He works with the script writers. Just want to find you. Just walking. Let me find it. I know I won't find it. But Johnny Walker as a brand, they have very nice advertisement campaigns. They're just perfect. And they are in a way of a storytelling, which makes everybody interested. So speaking about what makes a great story, let's have a look at some of the techniques and how to apply them during storytelling. Storytelling is one of the marketing world's new darlings. It's a marketing strategy that has made its way into everywhere from boardrooms to mom and pop stores. Storytelling is even being hailed as the single most powerful business skill for the next decade. As I told you, Johnny Walker is using this storytelling technique very skillfully. Unfortunately, storytelling is applied to business can seem a bit lofty, more like a concept than a tactic. That's especially true if you are not a Fortune 500 company with a multi-million-dollar budget for television commercials. So does storytelling apply to smaller businesses? Can storytelling be practical? To say in a word, yes. Storytelling is actually the oldest way to deliver a message or to explain the world. Ancient people use storytelling. The Bible uses storytelling. Your uncle uses storytelling. You are using storytelling for yourself and your business, even if you don't call it exactly like that. You're already a storyteller, but it's always good to improve your skills. So here are 7 techniques to help explain yourself and to make business better. Even a few tweaks to your story can deliver major results. But just knowing how to be a better storyteller isn't enough. Here are 5 areas of the business that can be applied to storytelling skills. These techniques addresses specific goals, like getting more readers to the blog, explaining what a company does, attracting ideal employees. Storytelling can seem like a lofty, magical topic, but it's actually one of the simplest, oldest way to promote anything and to entice everything. So, the first one, have an enemy and have a hero. Stories need a good guy and a bad guy, also called a hero and an enemy. The enemy can be a thing like a desert or the system or even the fear within the hero. The arc of the story is how the hero beats the enemy. Question to ask yourself about this might include, what's the core enemy of the customers or the clients or the followers? Is it danger, wasted money, unfulfilled dreams, bad hair, others? Conflict. Conflict is how the friction between the enemy and hero manifests. Maybe it shows up as the hero deciding to cross the desert, or when for example, the business owner decided to figure out how to defeat a problem. Conflict also describes the obstacles you encountered on the way to success, whether they were problems with the bank, with a tornado, with anything. If the hero has no struggle, then it's a lame story. Omit any irrelevant detail. Omit any detail that doesn't move the story forward or develop the characters. This is about keeping the reader's attention. If they don't need to know about your red bicycle to understand the arc of your story, don't tell them about the bicycle. If they don't need to know what kind of awesome high-tech sneakers you need to cross the desert, don't tell about the sneakers. Tell the story like you talk. This one is very simple. Corporates speak ruined stories. Talk like you would normally talk. If you sound a little too corporate to pass as an average person, hire a storyteller. I remember when I recorded videos for the course, I was asked to speak to the camera like I'm just speaking with my friend. Your watchers, your onlookers are friends. Speak like a friend. Speak like you are having an evening with them with a glass of beer, and you are speaking with them like friends. In 30 seconds, right? Good. The next one, make it visual. There is the reason children's storybooks are mostly pictures, and that so many of the greatest stories even ever told have been made into movies. Images bring a story to life. You can tell a story just by standing up and talking, but it had better be one hard clutch of a story. And even then, added images will make it powerful. Make it personal and easy to relate to. To immediately borrow from the last point, use images of what actually happened or where it happened. Use images of the real people in the story, not stock photo models. And again, talk like you talk. Show your personality. Reveal a bit of your weaknesses and your fears. Everybody else has those weaknesses and fears too. This leverages a subtle power of storytelling. When we tell our own story, often we are telling other people's story too. Those people are your ideal audience and your ideal customers or clients. Add surprise. A story with no surprises is boring. You knew this already because you're already a storyteller, but it bears repeating. Whether it's a good surprise or a bad surprise, every good story has at least one surprise. This is an essential to a story as conflict. So where storytelling can be applied, it can be so these techniques was a thumbnail a version of how to tell a good story. Let's have a look how or where we can apply these techniques. First of all, a blog. For example, you can use your blog as a segmented way to tell the long version of your story, or you can use each blog post as a mini story. For example, you could write a post about a father who was in the same business as you are now and write the post as a story about something he did. For example, that's telling a segment of your extended story. Or you could write a blog post about a client who struggled with something and how they overcame it as the mini story you open a blog post with. Videos. Any story you can think of about you or your business or your industry or your customers can be made better by creating a video of it. There is even a new tool called Powtoon that will let you add some animations to your videos. You could create entire videos with just Powtoon and skip all audio or any images of you or anything else. But adding specifics will help. Advertising hooks. To remind you how powerful storytelling can be as an advertising hook, can you hear me now? You can ask a question. So, a little bit of and attracting employees. Whether you are attracting new employees or inspiring existing ones, stories are a fantastic tool. Remember how I said are a way to explain the world. How would you explain your company's worldview in a story or your blogs in a story? Like your blog's world view. Oh my God, so like that. Here comes. So let's have a look together at another very important way. 6 Rules of Great Storytelling by Pixar. I know the entrepreneur Robert Kiyosaki, and he's a magnificent story. He managed to create a fictional character, but he's described him so precisely that most people believed it was a real person, right? It's just masters of, there were masters of, for example, I admire the rhetoric art, the art of delivering a speech. And there are also like politicians are great orators, are great rhetoric people, like Nelson Mandela, the same Hitler. But Hitler, it seems to me, he was reading he was reading all these speeches by very famous philosophers, psychologists. That's why still he's a very strong man. That's why I just admire these people who can have a very developed soft skill like rhetoric or storytelling. Great people. So the first one, great stories are universal. The second one, great stories have a clear structure and purpose. So they should be structuralized. There should be a climax. There should be the beginning, the end, conflict. So climax, not the culmination. Culmination, purpose. What's the purpose of your story, and why do you tell the story? Great stories have a character to root for, to support him, to be a friend with him, to feel the same emotions and to feel empathy with a person. Great stories appeal to our deepest emotions. So something that I told you. Great stories are surprising and unexpected, right? So there should be a tweak. There should be twist in your story. Great stories are simple and focused. Simple stories, but very emotional, right? Elements: who, what, when, and where, right? There should be a problem, and the person should ask how he struggles with the problem, how he addresses this problem, how he decides to beat it, and then there should be a resolution. So the end, journey, right, that I told, and a solution to the problem. Structure. Of course, some of the useful phrases can help us, like once upon a time there was, every day, one day something happened. Because of that, he did something. Because of that, something happened. Until finally, it was the happy end. They were together and they live happily. And practice, so we won't have any practice. Right. So something that I want to show. Oh, actually, we don't have time to show. Is the surprise you mentioned before while listing the points what makes a great story, right? Okay. Speaking about the good beginning of the story, a good beginning, there should be a question to the reader. Who is this mysterious killer? Or there should be arc of the story, like the frame. To hook readers, something like to hook readers, introduce the key conflicts and the characters of the story. There should be some promises of a meaningful journey that the listener or the reader or the onlooker will experience during listening to the story. Okay. Opening questions. Like introducing a perplexing scenario that must be explained, or describing character with some unexpected hooks. Tease the reader with the unknowns of the story. Hooking. The language should be polished. Some irrelevant and unnecessary information should be just cut out, unless it has and holds the crucial detail in it. Original language should be used in original language with the metaphor, fresh metaphors or simile. Characters should be described in concrete terms. Like, she had always been a happy child. No, it doesn't work. Show scene from a happy childhood. Show the character in a pivotal moment, experiencing a pivotal moment. Hook the reader the right way. Hint a common conflict or launch right into it. Okay. Thanks a lot for listening, and thanks a lot for being with me during all summertime period. Have a good summer, end of summer. Thanks a lot and goodbye. It seems to me we are going to see you maybe somewhere in Study Academy. Good luck. Bye-bye.